Alright, so yeah, as I said, Tuesday we had absences, yesterday we had a large job, so we postponed the toolbox to this morning. There wasn't anything super critical, so we thought that was pretty suitable. First off, birthdays. Corrales turned 34 last Sunday. Couple more greys coming through. We don't have any anniversaries this week. We've got some truck folders. So a while ago, well, probably years ago now, we made up truck folders with customer notification cards, notice of disconnection cards, and just a heap of sort of general stuff that's suitable or good to have in the truck. Julie found a heap in the compactors that obviously aren't on people's trucks. So I'm going to read out the game. Just chuck your hand up if you operate under this game. Grab that folder. GB. Grab one of them when you leave here, man. GM, L or O. I feel like none of those games operate. So that's all good. And GH. Yeah? Just you guys? Cool, yeah, grab that when we leave here.
What's in there, Renty?
It's just a folder like with customer notification cards, like say for instance like you're out, working and we want to get you to go notify on the way back or something. Customer notification cards in there. There's also, if you have to leave a customer disconnected for whatever reason, they access the main switches or whatever, there's all those sort of cards.
Yeah.
Just a sort of all-round information sort of pack, just here to have. You don't have one? GG?
Yeah.
I don't think we've got one either.
I don't reckon I know either.
Maybe get everyone to check their trucks.
Someone got a pen?
A few more folders than
Can I suggest everyone check their truck, just confirm, and just get back to Rentsy? Because it sounds like there's a few we're not using anyway.
We'll start around here, sing out, don't have one 4As.
I'll get them to check then. They could be thrown
Get them to check, alright, yeah, okay. Check first, just have a look at through.
clean the truck out there.
Oh, fair enough.
Rentsy, I'm definitely going to have one on my own one.
Sounds like guys confident. So what, Des?
Yeah, D.
What's your game?
D.
Yeah, G and there's one there.
G?
G and A goals.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
Alright. Is that it?
GG.
We got 3 spares there anyway, so we may be able to just hand it out.
GG.
Oh, GG as well. Alright, moving on. Switching toolbox. So, Nick.
Yeah, I've got some stuff here. So, a bit from last week. So, great work from everyone switching last week. The issues regarding the main earth were picked up before we got out to site. Shows great thoroughness from all the operators and checkers involved. Just a reminder that as well as main earths installed both sides of the brake, we need to ensure work earths are installed at both sides. Guys, checking device integrity prior to operation and asking the questions, showing great communication and safety standards. Make sure we keep doing that, and make sure we keep identifying and carrying out the risk at every location where we identify the roles of who's the operator and checkout, identify the correct switching device location, is it safe to operate, and communication with the HVC, have we got approval, and do we agree? Alright, nice brief one guys, keep doing what we're doing.
Perfect. Thanks, mate. So 559 days since our last switching incident. So nudging on 2 years there, so as we all do, just keep the focus up around all things switching and brilliant work. So we've got some incidents, near misses and hazards. So Corey, you want to fire off with your 2 there, mate?
Couple, so we had got a hazard, forklift got bogged on outside on the rocks. Bunch of us drive thing. Try not to turn when you're on the side of the rocks. Try not to load things when you're on the side of the rocks. Just bring it out into the bloody middle yard. Just don't drive on the rocks. Just don't drive on the rocks. And another one, this one doesn't make sense how they've written it, but they've damaged the side step ladder on the Tano, and the oxy wasn't packed up correctly, so I don't know how they've done it, it doesn't say anything, but
Then we're not sure they found it as they got down the road. So the key out of that one is make sure you're walking around your vehicle before you leave site, checking everything.
yeah, on that PTO was left on while driving, so you've got PTO on the car, make sure it's
Yeah, further to that, that's from what we've been told, there's no alarm for that truck. This is a Tadano, so that's something we should get fixed our end. So we're going to look into that as well, because I believe there should be an alarm.
That's it.
Thanks, Corey. Toby, you want to pour on?
Yeah. So the other day, it was found an incorrect transformer was capturing the CNS. So while doing the work group leader checks for the following week, we've noticed that the LVLSP was isolating one transformer, whilst the attached CNS had notified the adjacent transformer. So that was picked up during our work group leader checks, which the TSWHs do. More of an office-based issue, but it does go to show that our systems do work and we do capture these little mistakes, which is good. Another one here, which is an incident damage to Telstra. So a bit wordy, I'll try and brief a little bit. So while performing a pole placement, dug down and discovered the footing was extremely close to the ground and jammed up next to a Telstra pit. So cutting the pole was determined to be the best option rather than pulling. To minimise damage to the Telstra, they attempted to use the grinder and Recipro. Had some issues where they were unable to access some parts of the steel due to the NBN pipe and the Telstra pit. They restored to oxycutting and placed 2 shovels to attempt to block the heat and flame in the Telstra. These measures proved ineffective when the Telstra pit caught on fire, and in turn the Telstra cable caught on fire, causing damage. Poured water over the pit to reduce the risk of catching on fire again, then completed the cut and removed the pole without any further incident, and reported to TSW6 and believe all got fixed up. So any suggestions there, guys? I don't know too much about it, but was the right decision with how the guys went about cutting, or?
This is scoping, comes out of scoping. End of the day.
Thank you, that. I mean, backtrack. So,
Well, if you've got a pit next to a pole, maybe call it telco, let them know you're getting on site, get them to remove their wires or reroute them, whatever.
was that good?
I don't know.
Can I just add a bit of context too as well, because I've spoken to the 2 guys that were out there, they're not here today. So there's Telstra coming up both sides of the pole from memory. They did cover them with shovels. There's a Telstra pit probably about that far away from the pole, which they didn't cover, didn't even consider it. And, you know, the flame was going the complete opposite way. But from the heat of that flame, this Telstra pit, the plastic of it actually caught on fire. And that's what in turn burnt the Telstra. They got back to put it out and it actually burnt the Telstra. So be aware that those Telstra black plastic pits obviously are quite flammable. So if there's one nearby, it'd be worth covering that up too. Fire blanket, shovels, whatever you got. I mean, they use the shovels for the fire blanket, probably more suitable for that situation. But just consider it. That's all.
Thanks, mate. Josh, you're the nurse.
Yeah, another new miss here. Follows on from what Nick was saying, just the low voltage switching incidents we've been having. So this was another one of those. There's a set of low voltage earths that were missed through our checks and picked up in the brief, which is good for the guys that sitting on the briefs. So after switching was after the isolation was carried out and completed, it was noticed that a set of main earths had been missed as the works to be carried out was to cut in the brake. So once the guys on site realised that they were cutting in the brake, obviously they realised there wasn't going to be a set of earths on the other side of that brake covering from a potential point of feed. So they could pick up by the guys on site.
Yeah, just on that, you probably noticed we've been having a few of those where items been wrong or missing in LVLSPs, and all you guys have been picking them up in the briefs, which is fantastic, but shouldn't be getting that far. So we caught up as a leadership group yesterday to come up with suggestions and actions on how we can improve and avoid it. We see it as, you know, some Swiss cheese stuff. So we're doing a work in the background to make sure that you know, the products that come to you guys in a brief are A1. But yeah, still remain vigilant in the brief and picking this stuff up because it's fantastic.
Just to add to that, I was actually going to put that in Netflix toolbox. So I'm going to send an email this morning, so I won't. But us having that meeting, catching up and discussing that and putting a lot of work into that is a direct result of the good reporting that you guys do. So if you guys fix these things and just carry on and don't report it, we don't find out and we can't fix it. So reflection on what Renzi says, well done for the reporting, and it's going to help us improve.
Some general depot stuff. So looks like we're a fair way out in the plan. We're starting to plan work in October. So if you wish to have leave, I'm not savvy with all the school holiday stuff, but it looks like there may be school holidays in October. So if you're interested in taking leave, just have a bit of a think about that, because the schedule is filling up and you probably will be allocated to some stuff. So yeah, get in for some leave in October if you'd like to have some time off with the kids and stuff during the holidays. And just a reminder, I think it all did get tidied up fairly well before the family day on Saturday, because we were going to have kids here and stuff. But just keep behind the backs of your trucks tidy. Also, if you're working on other people's vehicles and you've got salvage and stuff, be respectful, don't just dump it behind their truck. Yeah, try and keep other areas tidy too if you're using their vehicles for whatever reason. We have a safety alert, so a DC shock while we're using the Mega. So on Monday, 1st of August, an Edmonton substation maintenance TSW received a shock while carrying out an insulation test with a 5 kV Mega. He attended hospital, got checked out, he was all sweet, and the incident was reported to Safe Work, and also the client, and it's under investigation, so there's not a whole lot of detail here, but it just does say, while using our 5 kV Megas, make sure we go through the discharge process as per manufacturer's recommendations. So probably assume that they'd carried out their Mega test, but the device hadn't run through its discharge and is empty both. So yeah, just be mindful there. That's it. I think we've got timesheet training with Paddy Mack. So yeah, go through the new tile.
I've got something on to read through that you've done.
Yeah, mate.
Yep. It was with Seb. A lot of people were asking questions regarding service testing, and I discussed with him that it wasn't switching related, so we wouldn't do it as part of the switching toolbox. But there were questions raised about doing the across the fuse test as part of your service test at the end of the day after works. I don't know if people know the scenario that happened the other day, but basically there was a road crossing replaced, and the crews required to do the service test at the end of the day. Didn't have access to the main switchboard, so they couldn't do the across the fuse test before inserting the fuse. And the question was raised whether we were allowed to energise that or not, as we hadn't made any changes to the customer side. So discussions were had with the ops manager of electrical services. The scenario was discussed, as well as the ops supervisor and electrical technical services. The scenario sounded like it was fine, and they were happy to proceed. No, nothing was done to the customer side. It was a planned outage that they were notified for, and everything tested fine on the SAPN side. But down in the low voltage manual, and I'll read this. So the service fuse insertion test. This process is used for all customer installations. It doesn't specify what a customer installation is. We're treating that as any work done that will affect the customer feed. So in this scenario, replacing the road crossing and disconnecting that service for a test, we're classing as a customer installation. So the meter must be isolated, main switch turned off, and the across the fuse test must be carried out. Have sent an email off to get it further investigated, but for now that must be done. If you don't have access to the main switchboard, we'll do everything we can to try and get in contact with the customer. If you can't get in contact with the customer to see if they can come back and give you access to isolate it to do that test, we'll have to card them and dispatch and raise the job for someone to come back later and re-energise them. Alright, doesn't mean the job doesn't proceed. We'll do everything we can to get access to that meter board. If it's planned outage and then we found this, it's now an unplanned circumstance, so we'll do our best to carry on with work, and we'll try to get access to the customer's details. If not, we can card them. That is standard practice. Alright. Hope that answers everyone's questions around that everyone had. If not, raise it down.
So with replacing, like we're doing a bit of replacing services lately, so where you don't change a service if we can't access the meter, Or do we change the service and leave the card?
Change service,
Yeah.
as long as we prove what we put back is correct, then our work's done, we still get paid, they'll still get connected at the end of the day.
Well, leaving the card, meter mechanic's got to do that test.
Yeah, 100%, but we still get our work done.
I believe Renzi's got some information on potentially when you're changing service, you click a button that says you need access to the meter and actually notifies the customer. Is that right?
Yes, yeah, we can, yeah.
Something we weren't aware of before, but especially if we're clicking that and then the access isn't provided, we've actually notified them that we need it. And I'm comfortable both ways, but with that, it's just an extra level of.
My guys as well, when I'll scope them, I'll give them a card and sometimes talk to them if I can and let them know on the day whether they remember or just blatantly don't give us that option. It's hard. At least this way, if we can still do our work.
Yeah.
We can give them a card, then we've given them no option. If they want power, they've got to ring.
Yeah.
Service mechanic to get them back out there.
Is everyone familiar with the cards I'm talking about? It's just like an Irish notification card. It just says, you know, we couldn't get access to your meter board, you've been disconnected. Gives them a number they can ring.
So
Just-
if we do
Or
that,
left disconnected, sorry.
if we do that, we just when we call up the dispatch at the end of the day, like CNS, we just let them know that what
Yes.
customers are affected.
Yeah, let them know, but more importantly, as you find out, ring your TSW6 because they'll go on the CNS, get a phone number, give the customer a call. He might be working down the road or down the shop or something. Like, oh, I'll come home.
Yeah.
And quite often that's the case that, or you know, they can tell you what time they're going to be home, and then you can tell dispatch to organise a meter mechanic for this time.
Probably do that, but once you get to that house and realise straight away if they're not there, you've got no access, and you can't get involved with them, ring us, we can do that while you're there, at least then there's a chance.
Yeah.
That half hour, an hour you're there, they might rock up and give you access.
Which has happened a few times. Just put it just around the corner, just up around to the shop, so.
That Workmate app actually has the information of the customer on it. A couple of times when I do services with Uncle, couldn't get access to the meter, went onto the Workmate app, found the details, called the lady, and we got access within that. So
Shane, you're miles ahead, mate. Well done.
They have a CNS as well, so you can get their details.
I usually don't have a CNS and everything else like that.
Good feedback.
About changing the service without isolating the main switch. So talk about embedded generation. So I just done my course down at the Lion Store. So you have to go and you have to isolate the main switch, isolate your solar, and then isolate any like batteries or embedded generation that potentially backfeed to where you're at your work position. So before you change the service, you got to isolate everything first.
If we change the box as well, to change the service, you have that open point there. That'd be right.
Mick, that's a good point. We'll follow that up.
Or here, or
You
here,
gotta-
live voltage.
You gotta go live on. So
Yeah, and
like
also-
if you're working in that service, you gotta play with their wiring, like just changing the service in that light, because you're not earthing it, that's still deemed as live changes.
Yeah.
Because like when we were in there, so you have to isolate it.
But if that overload plugged on, you just change the service wire.
Yeah, all that stuff,
So you
yeah.
can-
Over stuff.
Prove that as well, prove that, make sure there's nothing, you should be doing that as well, prove that there's nothing coming back on it. But you don't know, they could have an extension lead over the fence to their neighbour's place, going half their house, there's a potential backfeed there, like you don't know what they've done, so you should be doing that as well.
We'll look into that a bit.
Yeah.
We'll come back next toolbox with clarity around that. I nearly forgot to. Thanks everyone for their efforts yesterday. I'm sure Josh is appreciative. In some trying conditions and stuff, got the work done. He's back here 2:30, so yeah, appreciate it. We'll hand over to Paddy. Fucking peace and love.
Peace, love, and OT.